Alrighty, so today we're going to be talking about the sum of an infinite geometric series. And if you guys remember when we did exponential functions, because essentially a geometric series is just a specific type of exponential function that's discrete. But we had two possibilities when we were graphing exponential functions. Some of them came down and approached zero, right? And then others of them went the other way and approached infinity and came from approaching zero. So it turns out that if I have a geometric series, and this was in a situation when the absolute value of r was less than 1, and this was a situation where the absolute value of r was greater than 1. Okay, so because when the ratio is less than 1, it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, it's actually going to be approaching a number as it goes to infinity. And so that number can be found by taking a sub 1 over 1 minus r. And that's only going to work if my absolute value of my ratio is less than 1. In other words, the terms of the series have to be getting smaller and smaller and smaller. If the absolute value of r is greater than 1 and it's going towards infinity, it's getting bigger and bigger, is it going to be approaching a specific number as it gets larger and larger and larger? No, it's just going towards infinity, right? So when that is the instant, or when that happens, that means that there is no sum. Okay? So this formula only works if the absolute value of r is less than 1. So let's take a look at an example. I've got the sum as I goes from 1 to infinity of 5 times 0.8 to the I minus 1. So if I look at that, I can see that a sub 1 is 5, and my ratio is 0.8, and so I just plug it into the formula. 5 divided by 1 minus 0.8. So that's 5 divided by 1 minus, 0.2 on the bottom, sorry. And when you're dividing by fractions, you can move the decimal over. So you don't have to get out a calculator to do that. What's 50 divided by 2? 25. Okay? So the sum of that series would be 25. As I gets larger and larger and larger, the sum is approaching 25. Okay? Any questions? Okay. Alrighty. Here's another one. This one isn't written in summation notation, so it's not quite as obvious what the ratio is, but I can still figure it out. What am I multiplying as I go from term to term? I'm doing it times just 3/4, negative 3/4, right? Each time it's times negative 3/4. So my ratio for this one is negative 3/4, and a sub 1 is 1. So the sum would be 1 over 1 minus negative 3/4, which is plus 3/4. And 4/4 plus 3/4 is 7/4. And when we divide by a fraction, that's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal, so 1 times 4/7. The answer is 4/7. Not too bad, huh? Okay. Any questions so far? All right, here's one for you guys to try on your own. Okay, so as I was walking around, it looks like you guys all got that. A sub 1 was 1, and the ratio was negative 1/2, and so when you plug it into the equation, you get 2/3. All right, and here's one more for you guys to try on your own. All right, so what was a sub 1? 2/5. And the ratio? Also 2/5. So we get 2/5 divided by 3/5, which is 2/5 times 5/3. And so this one also comes out to 2/3. Looked like most of you guys were getting that. Okay, any questions so far? Nope. Okay. All right, so let's take a look at this one. All right, so I've got the infinite geometric series 1, -3, 9, -27. What's a sub 1 for this one? 1. And what do you suppose the ratio is? Right, I'm multiplying by -3. So what's happening with these numbers as I'm going across? They're getting larger and larger. They're changing signs, but they're getting larger and larger, aren't they? Is that going to ever approach a number? No. So there's no sum for this one because the absolute value of -3 is greater than 1. Okay? So anytime the ratio is greater than 1, there's not going to be a sum. It's just going to approach infinity. All right? What do you guys think about this one? Can we find a sum for this one? I know. Exactly. So don't be tricked just because it's a fraction. If it's an improper fraction, 5/4 is greater than 1, so there is no sum. So don't just assume anytime you see a fraction or a decimal that it's going to work. It has to be less than 1. All right, how about, I'm going to give you guys another one. Let's do 3 plus 3/4 plus 3/16 plus 3/64. All right, go ahead and find the sum of that one. All right, so a sub 1 for this one is 3. And what's my ratio? 1/4. So that's 3 divided by 3/4, which is 3 times 4/3, which equals 4. Okay? Any questions on that one? All right, one more. What do you guys think about that one? What's my ratio? What am I multiplying by? Negative what? 4/3. So what do you guys think about that? No sum, yeah. Because its absolute value is greater than 1. Alrighty. So that's all we're covering today. Are there any other questions? No? All right. That's it for today.